up? Coach Squires here, and this is our fourth and final video of our Becoming a 5-Tool Athlete video series. Okay, we're walking through basically the steps we take through our Bomb Squad program to get our athletes to becoming 5-tool athletes. So developing all attributes needed so that you can go to the top schools you want to get to and play at the next level that you're hoping to play at. Okay, so here we're going to be talking about peaking power and top speed. Okay, we're going to be diving into what's called French contrast today. This is what we use within this last phase of our program. And if you caught our last video, you understood too how I kind of walked through. I'll show a little clip of it real quick. Basically, everything that we worked on in order to get to this point. Okay, so if you were to jump into the Bomb Squad program, unless you were a highly developed athlete, so meaning you're borderline college pro, you probably have no business being in this phase of the program until going through the other phases, okay? As I'll explain here with the French contrast, a lot of the benefits that you receive from this style of training will not happen if you are lagging in any attributes, okay? So when we're talking about peaking, okay, there are attributes and things that we need to develop and have in order to, per se, peak, okay? And we never technically peak. All right, we just want to maximize whatever our performance is at that current point. That doesn't mean that we can't go through the cycle again and build on those and repeat, so to speak, right? Technically, you never peak. Hopefully, you're always getting a little better, right? Okay, but in order for us to, per se, peak, quote unquote, or maximize our skill set, we need to have a base strength, okay? We can even also say, too, that we also need to build muscle as well with this, right? We need to build muscle and strength in order to peak whatever it is. Oops, muscle here, okay? So we need to build muscle and strength. We need to develop our speed and acceleration, so our velocity qualities, okay? So we need both sides of the spectrum, so again, we can develop power like we talked about in our last video, okay? Elastic strength, so this has to do with all tissue development. This is where plyometrics are super important. So not only are we strengthening from a muscular standpoint, but also to our tendons and ligaments, because we have a lot of hidden power in there that we can utilize that when it comes to athletic performance. Okay, tendon stiffness as well. That's also going to be a reflection of plyometrics, but also isometrics. Okay, we do want stiff tendons. Unlike muscles, we want stiffer tendons. All right, and then we will again do all the things we did to improve our work capacity and conditioning, because what we're about to go through is very taxing from a CNS standpoint and even just a physical standpoint, okay? And then mobility is super important, okay? The main reason being is so when we are pushing ourselves at these high velocity, high force scenarios or high collision scenarios, we really reduce our chance of experiencing any type of injury, okay? So seeing in order to peak, we need to do a lot to get over to this point where we can reap the benefit from something like a French contrast. Okay, now French contrast, I'm going to throw the video or a picture image of it right here in front of us. We're going to be going through what's called a force velocity curve, okay? So we're going to have 4 different movements, and I kind of wrote a little bit about where we're going to use the movements over here for. But we have 4 different movements. One, we start with the main strength movement is from the top. So we're thinking max strength, peak power there. It's going to be towards the top of that force velocity curve I just showed you. Okay, plyometrics would just be more a max speed. Okay, it's a plyometric, it's a body weight movement itself. Okay, and then we go into our third movement, which would be speed strength. So I would even suggest, even though on the infograph I showed you, it said 30 to 60%, I would keep it probably closer to that 30-40% for this one, okay? We want to be highly explosive with just a little bit of loading, not necessarily a lot. And then we go into an overspeed here at the end, okay? So basically, you're providing stimulus from all different aspects of strength, speed, and power, okay? And just like the said principle, which I'll throw up right now, okay, it's important to train the qualities that we want to improve. Meaning if we want to improve power, we need to do things that are expressing power, just like things with strength and everything else, okay? Now, just about French contrast itself, all right? So if you ever want to try to set something like this up for yourself, French contrast, basically, you want to use movements that utilize similar movement patterns, right? So rear foot elevated squat, we're in that split stance, okay? So that's why we go into single leg step up jumps or sprinter jumps, box jumps. So that's basically where you're launching off. sled sprint. So again, we're working that transaction again, and then assisted split jump. Okay, this can be done with lower body. We've done this with lateral force production. We've done this with upper body, as you'll see within our program here. We use it in the last phase. Okay, and then another thing too, with some tips with this, is making sure that you can rest between. So your rest between sets is often anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. Okay. We'll just leave that at seconds there. So 30 to 60 seconds, okay? And that's super important because in order for you to get the most out of all this, you have to be executing at or near max effort, max intent. If not, you're not going to reap the benefit. And while this is a very fun way to train, you're not going to receive many benefits because it's not necessarily great for building strength or muscle. This is all focused on power development, okay? So if you guys have any questions, make sure to comment below. If you want to check out our Bomb Squad program and go see what that's like, or any of our other programs, go check out, the link will be below, our Elite Athlete Project membership. This is our membership. Again, we give access to everything for a low monthly cost, less than $1 a day, guys. So make sure to check that out. We're going to have one more video on our video series here, where we're going to be breaking down a few other things for you. So I hope to see you then. Let's get it.